Yesterday, Sayadaw strongly encouraged the yogis to practice strictly according to the teachings of the Buddha. And there is a reason that Sayadaw is encouraging the yogis to follow the discipline while practicing the Dhamma. Because some of the people think that it is sufficient just to do beneficial work, and they ask the question, are the discipline and rules really necessary? When one is doing the work that is beneficial, rules, regulations, discipline are very important. The more the beneficial the work is, the more one needs to follow the discipline and the rules. If one does things without discipline, without following the rules, there will be bad consequences of not following the discipline. And Sayadaw has been encouraging the yogis to practice according to the discipline and rules, but it is not from his own teaching, but it is from the teaching of the Buddha. In order to have sustained mindfulness in whatever posture that one is in, walking, standing, sitting, lying, in whatever posture that one is in, one should exert ardent effort in order to have sustained mindfulness. Practicing Satipatthana meditation is compared to being in combat, in the battle with the enemy. When the soldier is fighting in combat, in the battle with the enemy, the soldier should not be negligent. The soldier should constantly be cautious every single second. If the soldier is negligent, if the soldier is not cautious, then the enemy can gain upper hand at any moment. That's why it is important for the soldier in combat to be cautious all the time. In the same way, yogi is compared to the soldier who is in combat in the battlefield. Yogi should not be negligent. If there is lack of mindfulness, the enemy, raga, dosa, moha, the defilements will gain the upper hand. In order not to let the defilements overwhelm the yogi, yogi should continuously have mindfulness. Yogi should continuously be active, alert, ready in noting the object. But if the yogi is lacking mindfulness, yogi will be defeated by the defilement enemy. If there is lack of mindfulness, then the defilement will enter the mind. Not being mindful of the presently arising object, if one comes across desirable objects, there will be greed. If there are undesirable objects, there will be anger, dissatisfaction. Practicing Satipatthana meditation, one should not lack mindfulness. There are defilements that have been following throughout the round of existences, and one should not let these defilements to enter the mind. So it is very important not to lack mindfulness at all. In order to avoid lack of mindfulness, one should practice respectfully, meticulously, thoroughly. The example is given when going in the forest. If there is a bridge where the bridge is wide enough only for one foot to be placed at a time, then the traveler cannot walk on the bridge at fast speed. The traveler should walk on the bridge that is only wide enough for 1 foot. The traveler should walk very slowly, cautiously, mindfully, so that he or she will not trip and fall. If the traveler crosses the bridge in a fast speed, the traveler can slip over and fall off the bridge. So the traveler has to walk slowly, cautiously, taking one step at a time, so that he or she will not fall. And the traveler should also be cautious to take steady, firm steps on the bridge, which is just wide enough for 1 foot. And also, the traveler should balance himself, herself. If the traveler is flippant and negligent, the traveler will fall off the bridge. So in the text it is explained as Ekapada Setupama. Just as the traveler should be very cautious in walking on the bridge which is wide enough for only 1 foot, in the same way, yogi should be very mindful, respectful in noting the object, so that one will not miss or fall, one will not miss or fail to note the object. Every time one moves in any kind of activity, in any kind of object, yogi should continuously be noting the object with effort every single second. By exerting effort every single second, the effort will be strengthened. By noting the object, whatever arises, having continuous effort, the effort will become strengthened. The practice will also gain momentum. And when pursuing this high-class Satipatthana practice without giving up, with persistent effort, there will be progress amazingly. There should be Dhala Parakama, in other words, Dhala Viriya. There should be firm, steady effort. If one has firm effort in the practice, even if one comes across discouraging situation, but one will not give up, but one will practice continuously further and further, and one will understand the benefits of effort through the practice. If the yogi had gained victory, having overcome difficulties once or twice, the yogi builds up more courage in the practice, and the yogi will keep on practicing with more courage. If the person is defeated, if the person loses, then the person feels discouraged. One should note the object with effort, not giving up, with sustained mindfulness, with firm effort. Practice further and further, then the practice will gain momentum. That's why Sayadaw has been encouraging the yogis to practice with diligent effort so that yogis' practice will gain momentum. When the yogi asserts effort stage by stage, there will be special experiences. There will be joy, happiness, satisfaction in the practice, and Sayadaw will continue to explain what kind of special experiences, what kind of joy, happiness, and satisfaction one will get by asserting effort stage by stage in the practice. When having effort stage by stage, the person removes the unwholesomeness, and the person will be accomplished with the things that should be fulfilled. Aratta viriyo chako bhikkhave paviveto akusalehi dhammehi sadatthanja paripureti. The person who asserts effort stage by stage is free from the akusala, unwholesomeness, papa, the inferior mental state. By asserting effort stage by stage, one is removing the three kinds of micca vitakka, wrongful thoughts. Kama vitakka, sensual thoughts, yabada vitakka, ill will thoughts, vihimsa vitakka, cruelty thoughts, arises if the mind is not controlled by sati, mindfulness. If the mind is left uncontrolled, there is kama vitakka, sensual thoughts, wanting to see good things, wanting to hear good sounds, and so on. So the mind goes on to sensual objects, and there will be sensual thoughts. At times, when the mind goes on to things that are undesirable, then the person wants to destroy others. The person's mind becomes rotten with ill will. It is ill will thought. And also, there can be envy, jealousy, wanting to give trouble to others, wanting to torment others. Such kind of wrongful thoughts make the person dirty and polluted, and thus these wrongful thoughts are inferior and degrading, and thus they are called papa. As these wrongful thoughts make the person inferior and degraded. When the person is free from these three wrongful thoughts, there is nekkhamma vitakka, wanting to be free from the sensual realm, not wanting to destroy others. There is compassion, as well as metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion towards others. Seeing others prospering, seeing others prosper, the person feels happy. There will be mudita, seeing others prosper. And the kind of wrongful thoughts that can arise if one lacks effort, such kind of wrongful thoughts will be removed. When the person asserts stages of effort, 3 stages of effort, in this way, the person's body and speech will automatically be controlled, and the person's physical behavior, verbal behavior will be pure, clean, gentle, and lovable. So the person who exerts diligent effort will gain the true benefit by cultivating pure, clean behavior by body and speech, and there will be happiness. The person will feel happy whenever he or she thinks of the wrongful thoughts that he or she has dispelled. By exerting effort, one removes laziness. Having sati mindfulness, the mind is guarded, protected, so that the defilements cannot enter the mind. Having samadhi, concentration, the mind is calm, collected, and unified. Cultivating viriya, sati, samadhi, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, one gains true benefit, one gains true welfare, and one will be cultivating one's true benefit and welfare, and whenever one thinks of gaining true welfare and benefit by cultivating viriya, sati, and samadhi, the person feels happy and joyous. Being free from the wrongful thoughts, there will be happiness, peacefulness. It is the immediate benefit one will get. In order not to lose one's own benefit and welfare, in order the person discerns and realize the truth, the Buddha encouraged the beings to practice with diligent effort so that they will get true welfare and benefit. The opposite of arata viriya, the opposite of diligent, the person, is called kusita. Kusita is the lazy, indolent person whose behavior is disgusting as he or she is lazy. In order to gain true benefit and welfare, one should exert effort rather than exerting effort in the kind of practice that brings the true benefit and welfare. The person does not exert effort, but the person is lazy and sluggish. If the person is lazy in the practice, then such behavior is disgusting, and the person is called hina viriya, the person who has lacked effort. Even though one can exert effort in the practice, but the person does not, and thus the person does not get true benefit or welfare. In practicing, in order to get true benefit and welfare, the person is sluggish, the mind is slack, and thus the person's lazy behavior is disgusting, and the other person criticizes, blame, and curse him or her as a lazy person. When practicing, rather than exerting effort, rather than having a strong will in the practice, with strong faith and confidence in the practice, being mindful in whatever posture, walking, standing, sitting, lying, the person does not practice with faith and confidence. The person feels confused, not having strong will in the practice in order to purify the mind. So when that happens, if the person practices not having faith and confidence, not having strong will in the practice, then his or her behavior is disgusting, and the other people will blame such lazy person as useless person, lazy person. So kusita is the person who is sluggish and lazy, and thus the person gets blamed and the cursing of others as a lazy, useless person. So the laziness, that of the lazy person, is called kosaja, laziness. If the person is letting the mind go free in whatever posture, then there will be kama vitaka, sensual thoughts, wanting to see good things, wanting to hear good sounds. And if there are thoughts that are unpleasant, there will be ill will thoughts, wanting to kill others, wanting to torment others. And also there is jealousy, envy, wanting to torment others. So such kind of wrongful thoughts arises to lazy, indolent person who does not exert effort in the practice. When the person is lacking the diligent effort, the person is mixed with the wrongful thoughts. Kusito bhikkhave vokeno papakehi akuslehi dhammehi. The person who is lazy and indolent is mixed and entangled with unwholesomeness, with the inferior mental state. So one can imagine how the physical, verbal, and mental behavior of the lazy person will be. So a lazy person will have the inferior mental state. The lazy person is mixed and entangled with unwholesomeness, such as killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying. Such kind of wrongful thoughts arise in the person who is lazy, and the person becomes inferior and degraded with the wrongful thoughts. The mind becomes very inferior with envy, jealousy, and such kind of lazy person is mixed with unwholesomeness and with unwholesome thoughts. So the person is losing one's own benefit. Sadakanja parihapeti, the person who is lazy, not exerting effort in the practice, is losing his or her true benefit. Only if one removes the unwholesomeness, there will be happiness. So long as the person does not remove the unwholesomeness, there will be suffering, there will not be happiness. So not being able to remove the unwholesomeness, there will not be happiness, and the person is losing one's own true benefit. So in the world, there are a lot of people who are losing their own welfare and benefits, and thus there are many social problems that are very complicated and complex. People are pursuing sensual pleasure, and they are thinking highly of the sensual pleasure that they let their mind go free on sensual objects, and they are having fatal kind of happiness, dangerous kind of sensual happiness. And there are many problems that are very complicated and perplexed. So when one comes to think of such problems, it is very disgusting. The Arata Vidya, the person who exerts ardent effort, diligent effort in the practice, will become Dhamava. The person will possess strength and power, and the person's strength and power will gain momentum. However, one might come across the unfavorable situations and conditions, but the person will not give up. The person practices diligently, persistently, with effort, not giving up the practice. There is Dhala Viriya, firm effort. By understanding the benefit of effort, one will never withdraw, one will never give up in practicing the true benefit, practicing for the true benefit and welfare. And it will be Aneketa Dura. The person will not give up his or her duty of practice. The person practices persistently, diligently, and thus the person's physical behavior, verbal behavior become pure, clean, and beautiful. Removing the unwholesomeness means not giving any chance for the unwholesomeness to arise. In order to remove the unwholesomeness, in order to cultivate wholesomeness, one needs to make the effort. Having effort in removing the unwholesomeness, performing wholesomeness, one will have good control of oneself so that one will not be tormenting or hurting others. Having a good control of oneself is beneficial for oneself as well as others. So there will be dual benefits by having a good control of oneself, and it is very precious. Knowing that the practice is beneficial for oneself as well as others, one will take this practice as the most important duty. It is called Dura in Pali. Dura means duty. So, yogi notes every arising object without missing, without failing, as this Satipatthana practice brings benefit mutually for oneself as well as others, and thus Satipatthana practice is the most important duty. Practicing diligently, one also understands the 4 factors that make the Satipatthana practice essential. Practicing diligently in the practice is a must. One should practice diligently. And one should practice diligently by oneself. No other person can practice diligently on other people's behalf. And also, one should practice diligently in time, regularly, in timely manner. And one should practice diligently, effectively, efficiently, so that it will be beneficial for oneself as well as others. And this diligent practice is conducive for development of knowledge. So practicing diligently is the most important duty that should be done, that one cannot do without. One cannot do without the diligent practice, and it is one's true benefit that one should not lose. So there should be aniketa dura. One should not give up the important duty by practicing diligently in order to purify oneself and in order to bring benefit for oneself as well as others. So may you all be able to practice so that you will not be losing your true benefit for yourself as well as others. This will be all for today.